And welcome to Supercharged by AI. This is a podcast by AI Portland. I'm Megan Notarte, partner at Cloud4 and co-founder of AI Portland, along with the amazing, the beautiful Nicole Moores. Hi.
Hello.
Design manager at Lithium Motors and half of the magic behind AI Portland. Oh my God, what a week.
It was a fun week.
Yeah, look at us. We're still literally standing.
I'm standing.
I am also. I'm also standing. So many things happened this week. So much to recap. Where do you want to start?
At the beginning, let's start with Wednesday.
Wednesday launched the first ever.
I know we decided not to call it a conference, but it was very conference-esque.
Yeah, so AI Launchpad Northwest was on Wednesday, June 11th. It was from 10 to 3. We definitely resisted calling it a conference for our own sanity, but it had all the features of a conference.
Yeah, it had multiple sessions, multiple speakers. It had
sponsor tables. Yeah,
sponsor tables, roundtable discussions, networking. People really seem to enjoy it. I think by all measures, a success.
Yeah, we sold out. 200 of our friends, new friends, old friends, all came out. And, you and I gave a talk about AI literacy to kind of get everybody on the same page. It was really interesting. We asked people before they came, like what their relative experience was with AI. And it was a lot more diverse than I expected. Wasn't it for you too? Like the event was targeted for people who knew nothing.
Yeah, I think I said this earlier today, but the goal was to get regular folk, not necessarily just people who work in tech. Like I use the example of my brother-in-law. He's a plumber. When I went to go visit him at Christmas, he was like, what should I be doing with AI? And I'm like, dude, so much, So this event was really our attempt to help anyone, get off the sidelines. But we ended up having a great deal of interest from folks who are already working in AI, people who I think we had one person in the audience that was like, I've never used ChatGPT. Devin, I think was her name.
Yeah. There were, when I first asked if they'd ever used ChatGPT, 2 people raised their hand if they hadn't used it. And then I asked again, like if you'd ever written a prompt. And like only Devin raised her hand. The other person was like, don't call on me.
Yeah.
I was like, she was such a good sport. But yeah, it was, I think it just kind of shows where we're at in general with AI adoption. And we did talk to some of the folks who were more experienced, and they are looking for community and networking in places where these conversations are happening. So even though like they were, familiar with the literacy stuff, like there was a lot for them as well.
Yeah, so we had the first session, which was AI literacy for the individual, right? Very much 101. Okay, so after our session, we broke for lunch. Delicious sandwiches from Elephants. So many sandwiches. We thought maybe we weren't going to have. So we've had events, right? But we have not yet planned something so large, right? With a lot of moving parts. So catering, we've had catering before, but it was a lot looser. This seemed a lot more surgical in like the planning process for this. So many things learned. We had a real fear that we weren't going to have enough sandwiches for everyone. We ended up having way too many sandwiches. Oh,
we had so many sandwiches. Thank you, Elephants.
Not a science. Yeah, and they were great. Anyway, so we broke out for lunch, and the vision was that we would have various experts in different sort of lanes of AI with different perspectives. And these are people that we've encountered in Portland that, we go to ask our questions, They're homies, and they generously accepted our invitation to come and share their knowledge with our community. So the idea is you grab your sandwich and you would sit at their table and have small group Q&A. And, you know, for an idea we just sort of hadn't tested, it worked out really well. People loved this session. And I feel like the whole day could have just been that. But I looked over at Mike Crichton's table and it was full of people, and people were like wrapped. I think there was a little bit of an issue with hearing what anyone was saying in that room. It was so loud, 200 people.
Yeah.
But so many people at that table that it makes me feel like it's been a minute since we've had a event in that space, the creativity, creative innovation, that we should do that soon. And I know Mike's really interested in doing more events. So I think there's like a real there just was like a real sense of curiosity. There was an energy, especially in that session, where people were like more dynamic and engaging with each other. But overall, in general.
Yeah, no, I think that like, you know, the reason we had the small group Q&A thing, the reason we came up with it at all is because when we talk to companies, it seems like they get a lot of value from like sort of a presentation that's broad and kind of targeted. But like the most value comes from like them asking very specific questions about like their line of work or their way their team works or the tools that their teams use and things like that. And so we were like, cool, let's get people we trust together who can like have those conversations during lunch. And I think it worked out really well. And it makes me think that like that's the secret to some future event too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is like facilitating these conversations with people that you and I know are not, you know, are smart, know how it's really working, and are not kind of peddling hypey AI
or
kind
just like
of stuff.
hand wavy, you know. There's a lot of that happening right now. It's hard to connect the dots.
Yeah, I mean, it is, right? Like that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's hard to know what you can really do and what is like maybe a future thing that is coming. What did you think of Jordan's like of 201 kind of session?
Yeah, Jordan's talk was amazing. I've heard, you know, so there's so much good stuff on the internet being said about Jordan's talk.
So many like screenshots and tips, and you know, he was very practical.
He had a lot of like like quote worthy like things that I feel like people have pulled out. Yeah. So one thing that resonated with me, because I lead a team and that I feel a lot of personal responsibility to make sure that I'm, you know, making sure that the team feels empowered to experiment and be able to sort of poke the edges and see how we could utilize this in our design work. And with that, I feel like I need to know everything, you know, and I need to be up on aside from AI Portland, I need to be up to date on all the things. And Jordan said I know. Jordan said it's moving so fast. You really only have to be 3 days ahead of your team, which I was like, 3 days ahead. So
check. Got this.
Well, that just like gave me some space to like take some pressure off of myself. Like no one can stay the most up to date with everything and then also be responsible with disseminating that information to your team.
Yeah. I also liked he talked specifically about like job loss to AI and job loss to automation. He was talking about like how all the headlines talk about how software developers like just will be replaced completely. And he's like, I mean, how much of a software developer's job is just writing code? Like it's a certain percentage of the job, but it's not the whole job.
Well, I mean, if you work agency, you know that you cannot bill out 8 hours of a developer's time.
No, and like the best developers I know are good coders, but amazing communicators, and they're architects, and they're there are things that go beyond that. And so, yeah, like AI is going to make them faster at coding or more efficient at coding or get more of that stuff done.
You're
But
not
like,
going to
that's
get
only
rid of
part
that
of the
person.
job.
You're just going to be like,
Yeah.
cool, now they can code more,
They
you
can,
know?
or they can do other things, like things that are higher, maybe higher levels of thinking or whatever. I
Yeah.
thought that was really, I like was in the back and I was almost just like, yes. And I was like, oh, this is, keep it together, Megan.
The other thing that he said too is like AI should come last. You know what I mean? That if you're like, oh, I have AI, what am I going to do with it? You're approaching it completely wrong. You should be looking at the problems to be solved, make sure those problems match up to business outcomes. And then you think, hey, could AI help me solve this problem?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, which
Not
is exactly what we said. Yeah.
AI, now let me go look for problems. It's like, oh no, I have the problems. Is AI
What's the
appropriate for this?
solution?
What's the best way to approach it? And most importantly, will it get you to that business outcome you're looking for?
Yeah, absolutely. We ended the day with a demo by Zapier, who sponsored the event, and lots of cool automation possibilities.
Yeah, I pulled up Zapier because I've been playing around with it lately. I might be doing everything all wrong. That's what I got out of it. I'm like, there's some more time I need to spend in here. So I will be in Zapier this weekend. I will figure it out. I feel like it's an endeavor now. Like I have to do it, you know?
I mean, it makes me think about how like the broad sort of assumption about doing really cool, complex things that are AI powered is that like, because it's natural language and because there's like WYSIWYG interfaces, right? Like interfaces we can click through and see, that equates to it being really easy. And I don't think that those things necessarily are the same thing.
Yeah, I think it's easy, and Zapier makes it easy. You want to send an email off of a form submission, dude, 2 nodes.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like because it's so flexible, you could do so many things. Like it gets complex. You know what I mean? So if you have many nodes, you're trying to figure out how you're going to incorporate even their out of the box AI stuff into your nodes and your workflows and stuff like that. I feel like you have to approach it from, I have this problem, like, because you have to reverse engineer it, and like that's the only way I think that it works. Also, you know, you and I talk about looking for the tasks, and I think that we're as a metamorphosis of working with AI, it's starting to change. Before last year, it was all about this singular thing that I'm going to do with AI. And Wednesday, it was all about multiple things and chaining together multiple things and moving beyond the task and looking at entire workflows, which I feel like is different than where we have been.
Yeah, that's a really interesting thing. One of the things Jordan said was that if your organization and your processes are all the same after like adding AI, then you've probably done something wrong, because it should be sort of a transformation and a revolution of that those processes. And that's really made me think a lot, because I do think sometimes we like, okay, I have this particular problem, let's implement the same thing, but figure out how to like sprinkle some AI magic onto it. And it's really not about that. It's about like stepping back and like reimagining how things could work.
It's also like the investment payoff thing, right? Like I have some things that I've been using AI for, and I know I could probably spend the investment to automate it completely away, but they're not workflows I do often enough to warrant spending the time to figure out how to automate it. Like the workflow I have works out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You're looking for those places where there is the ROI, where you're doing things a lot. They have a lot of friction, and it aligns with things that AI can actually help with.
Absolutely. Yes.
Interesting. It sounds like oh, go ahead.
No, you.
I was going to wrap us on Launchpad. I was like, sounds like we learned a lot.
I want to shout out one last thing. Hillary at Willamette. Like,
heck
legit, we would not have done Launchpad
we would not have done it.
Hillary. We would not have.
100%.
So Willamette
Yeah.
University, they donated the space at the Eco Trust building, which is beautiful and
Oh,
amazing.
it's so pretty.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Hillary just was like such a good partner throughout the whole thing. And then afterwards, she treated us to ice cream up in the Willamette space, and just like cannot thank her enough. It literally would not have happened.
I just saw, you probably didn't see this. I just saw our friend Radek posted like a recap of the last week's worth of events, and he posted this picture. I think you're in it too, but like we're up in Willamette space, and I'm just like looking at the ice cream, and I've picked one up, and I'm just staring. It's like, this is so funny. It's like, I was like, oh my God, we made it. We made it to the ice cream.
Yeah. The
He
road was
captured that
long.
moment.
The road was long to get to the ice cream, but yeah, I just wanted to make sure we got our thank you in to Hillary, because she's
100%
just amazing.
Thank you. Yeah. And I mean, to our other sponsors as well, like we were able, our whole goal with Launchpad was to be able to set a price point that made it really easy and accessible for folks to like take the risk and come and see what this was all about. And we couldn't have done, we literally, it would have been at least twice expensive if we didn't have sponsors. So
Yeah.
Yvonne at Prosper Portland, Upstart Collective, super clutch.
Josh came in, like, thank you.
Yes.
That
Josh
was unexpected and amazing.
We had Zapier, of course. And then, you know, even the Metro Innovation Hub sponsored 5 founders to come. So did I get everybody? I think that was everybody.
Everyone. Yeah.
It was really cool. And I mean, also, the reason we were able to get the word out was because of so many people in our networks and our community that like told their friends and included it in their newsletter. ICU 52 and Max List.
Yeah,
right?
Max List, like those spikes were real.
And 52 as well. Like, anyway, we just had so many friends who showed up for us and our volunteers and in promoting the event for us. So really just like took the whole community.
Well, I just feel like as well, there's so much to like feel bad about in Portland. You know what I mean? I think we get down on ourselves, you know, but like Portland's ready. Portland's showing up, and we are a tight-knit community that is there for each other and ready to innovate, you know, and figure this out.
Oh man, like we saw people at the Launchpad who have continued to form companies from, or products from the hackathon a month ago. Like it's true, like people are coming together and doing some really cool things. And like, it's so rewarding to see the glimpses of that through our community as we continue to do things. It's very, 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 very cool.
Agreed.
Okay, Wednesday. That was Wednesday. Then Thursday, we had AI Portland.
A regular AI
Portland event. Yeah. Spork Bites hooked us up with some delicious treats. And this one was sponsored by Nicholas's. Yeah, wraps. Oof.
Yeah, so shout out to our volunteer Alex. He and I had a funny moment because we had some leftover wraps, and I think you were trying to get me to take them home with me, and I was what if I just like ate all the sandwiches and couldn't do anything on Friday? And like I did eat too many sandwiches, and this morning I was like, I have a wrap hangover. Like I can't ever eat again.
If you caught any noise in the background, it's because my son came in to grab the entire thing of chips that I took home. It's a good thing the No Tartes do love chips, so I don't think those will last very long, but I feel it. Yeah. We also were lucky to be sponsored by GitHub. So they have kind of a new community endeavor. And so we did a raffle for a GitHub shop code and also a certification, which is really cool.
Really
so
cool.
People won that, which was fun. But that, of course, that's all like what made it possible to have the event. The real deal was we had Cassie Scyphers from Thorn talking about the use of technology to combat CSAM, which is, you know, online sexual exploitation of children. It was like not a light topic.
No, I feel like especially if you have children, I just was like, ugh,
Oh
my
man.
kids,
And you
my
know, like
children.
as event organizers, right? We're trying to like be in the game and like you're watching the content, but you're also like, you know, keeping a million other things going. But like
No,
during
but then in
that
your mind, you're
beginning,
like, I need to go home and talk to my kid.
100%, I was like, okay.
Yeah.
But really interesting, positive uses of AI to help combat something that is just terrible and terrifying.
Agreed. And it's nice to know that there are people on the job that, there's whole companies that are trying to combat this in really smart ways. Also using the same technology that could be leveraged for harm, but for good,
Yeah. Yeah, that's amazing.
super powerful.
Yeah. And then we followed that with Dr. Richard Bruno from the Multnomah County Health Department, taking things in a slightly different direction. Talking about the use of really cool uses of AI in the medical field at the county level, but also like big calls to action for all of us.
Yes, he really was inspiring and asked everyone in the room to show up. There's going to be, or there's a proposed Oregon Commission on AI, and he asked those of us in the room to maybe,
consider participating.
Joining the commission to make sure we have a voice in what is going to happen in our area. That's huge. We talk about that all the time, right? Like, let's not just leave it up to Zuck,
I thought you said Zup, but you said Zuck.
Yeah.
Right?
Let's not leave it up to Zuck.
Hard agree.
We can't just leave it up to these big companies to make all these decisions because they won't be in our best interest.
Yeah.
And then he then said we should, coalesce together and like do our part, hire a lobbyist. Which
I know. I was like, oh, okay. Does AI Portland need a lobbyist?
But like there has to be some action. We can't just sit around in rooms and be like,
oh, it's so scary. So whatever. Yeah. I want to shout out to last night's AI Portland crowd for being maybe the first event in 18 months where all the questions were questions.
Mm-hmm. We had some really great questions.
Really good ones. Yeah.
The Q&A was on point. People were on point. You could tell people really cared about these topics and had smart things to say about it.
Yeah, it was a really interesting event. I know we have to wrap soon, so I wanted. Are there more things you wanted to talk about Wednesday or Thursday?
I think that was everything. Yeah, AI for good.
AI for good. This summer, y'all, we got some fun stuff coming up. We've got. That was our last like content-y thing because everyone kind of goes away and does their summer stuff. Even
last night, I feel like we had a decent crowd, definitely for event's sake, but like people are barbecuing, people are outside.
Graduation.
Graduation. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They're off doing that stuff, which is so great.
Traveling.
We will have we check out our website. We have a coffee in July. We have a fun day or night at the People's Court. So we'll play games and stuff.
Cornhole. Let's do it.
Cornhole. Okay. And then we have, of course, the summer soiree with TAO. It'll be super fun. It'll be at Kiln. We'll have food. We'll have music.
There's going to be live music.
Live music. Yeah. Locked it down. The Shiloh Rush
combo. It's going to be good.
It's happening. Yep. It's going to be good. Thank you again for listening to this episode of Supercharged by AI. Subscribe to get all the latest episodes and check us out at aipdx.info for more information.